Hi everyone, Jared here with DayTraders FX. Nice to be with you guys. Happy start of the week to everybody. I wanted to give a quick little market update here and talk a little bit about what I see happening in the stock market as well as in the currency market and see where some of these opportunities are. I spoke in great detail to my trade group this week on Monday morning when we're kind of looking at what we see in the market and where we see things happening. One topic that was coming up a little bit was these two things right here. Now, this is a very general statement I'm about to make, and you might be asking yourselves, what are all the signals and indicators and details here? And just know that this is a bit of a general statement. But what I see happening is, if you see on SPY here, so we're looking at kind of an overall outlook of the S&P and how it's been performing and behaving. We've had quite a solid run up there, you can see. Well, what I'm starting to see is on this long-term chart, when we start to get a pretty good amount of space between the between current market price and the moving average, that's where things start to get a little bit overcooked, right? That's kind of what we saw happen right over here before coronavirus sell-off, and that's what we saw happen. Whoops. Same kind of thing happened over here. This was kind of end of 2018 where things started to, sell off pretty big and before they headed back up again. So it's really more of a signal of, hey, we're getting to a point of, the market's very bullish. I'm very bullish the market, but we're also getting to a point of things are looking a little bit overcooked right now. They might be getting a little overbought, a little overextended. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe some consolidation, maybe even some dips before some continuations higher. I'm still, like I said, very, very bullish this market. But as I look at everything right now, I think to myself, it's feeling a little bit cooked. It's feeling a little bit cooked. I still have a lot of bullish stock positions, but I'm just starting to be very conscientious of that whole situation starting to line up there. You can see also in the dollar index. Now, the dollar index will be very reactive to the stock market. The more the stock market rallies, likely the more the dollar index will continue to go down. So that's good. And I think we have some pretty easy targets down here below. But if we look at the dollar index on a similar kind of situation here, we see something fairly similar, right? Once again, kind of a lot of room between current market price and the 200 moving average. We're getting real overextended here, and it just makes me think, is there a little bit of a pullback? I'm still very bullish, very bearish the dollar and bullish the stock market. But I look at this and I think, maybe the dollar index is going to pull back just a little bit and then continue doing something like that, right? Just like we talked about in what we see happening on the stock side of things. Maybe we see the S&P kind of do a little bit of that before a little more of that. So I look at all that and I think to myself, that's a little bit, that's certainly a little bit of what we see in the works here. So I'm just being very conscious and very aware of the fact that we've had some big runs and some long moves away from, this moving average, which is a great indication of just, here's an overcooked market. Here's something getting a little overbought, a little oversold. And the dollar index is certainly getting a long way away from that 200 moving average. The SPY is certainly getting a long way away from that 200 moving average. It just looks like a time where we might start to see either some consolidation or even a little bit of pulling back. So let's look at one or two or three of my favorite currencies and kind of where I see those things going. And then we'll look at a couple of stocks and where I see those things going. The euro dollar had this big double top up here at 120, and then it busted through it, right? But the euro dollar is doing very much of the same thing. We're starting to see this kind of business right here. And we're saying, okay, getting a little extended here, getting a little extended. We might see this pull back just a little bit before continuing higher. Now, once again, I'm very bearish the US dollar, so I think the euro dollar will easily continue up into the mid 120s. I think it's going to do that. But I think we're at a point where we're starting to see some of these things happen. Now, the euro dollar has made quite a fantastic rounded bottoming out pattern here over kind of the long haul, right? So we're kind of in this little situation, And so euro dollar's done a good job breaking out of all that. We had some pretty good resistance here around 114, 115 that we got through, and then we had a lot of consolidation, a lot of ugliness around 116. We got through that, and then kind of the final high there at 120, and we got through that. So the euro dollar is certainly in a bullish move, but when we start breaking through these big trend lines and these big long-term patterns, things get choppy, and I think we could see some of that choppiness starting to happen here before that big massive continuation goes, which I think is coming. So don't be surprised to see that kind of thing happen. I see the same type of situation happening here on the pound dollar. The pound dollar is telling us, hey, we have a huge bullish head and shoulders pattern, and we start getting moves above this 135. Here we are around 133.60. We start getting above 135. I think it's go time for the pound dollar. Look at what the pound dollar has done here. If we look at a weekly chart and we get some of these bigger moves, Brexit, of course, has been a big situation. That was Brexit over here. Here was 2008. This is a big chart. Pound dollar, I very clearly remember trading the pound dollar at 210. And here it is at 133. It's down an incredible amount. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, we've had some pretty nice bullish head and shoulders patterns here. Big, attempt at a double bottom, and it pushed just a little bit below. This neckline, this move above 130, above about 135, should be, the move that gets this big bullish head and shoulders pattern playing out. So I like that outlook for pound dollar. I think that's a very, very good looking situation there. We have a similar kind of situation happening on New Zealand dollar, where we're saying, okay, it's getting a little extended. New Zealand dollar is getting a little extended here. We're getting that, that space that we've been talking about. It's pretty big, and we're there. So this is a good time to pull back. We have some nice targets, some missed pivots, and so on between the moving average and current price. So there's a good opportunity for this pullback, but we certainly do see some nice patterns here playing out on New Zealand dollar, right? And we've got, kind of a smaller right shoulder there, but and we might create, who knows? We might take a big dip here, but I think a retest of that neckline and a big continuation is very much in order. So we just kind of want to stay on that side of things. It looks like we've got more dollar weakness coming. And pound dollar looks good, euro dollar looks good, New Zealand dollar looks good. These are all good opportunities to kind of continue trading these pairs higher. So keep an eye on that. We have a couple of yen pairs that are pretty interesting looking as well. Here's the New Zealand yen. If we look at this on the weekly chart, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty darn interesting. We've got a big head and shoulders pattern here, and it's struggling at the neckline. The neckline's right here around 73.50. You can see we're sitting just about there at current price. We start getting above that. New Zealand yen has got so much upside potential. New Zealand yen, not that terribly long ago, was trading up in the mid-90s, and here we're trading in the mid to lower 70s. So it's down thousands of pips, but I think we have a good opportunity to kind of keep trading this up and get it back up there. Lots of support back over here through 2008, 9, 10. We hit that. It held quite well in this attempt over here, and away we go. So I think New Zealand yen looks very, very good for a nice continuation on upward. So a couple of good yen pairs. Probably focus on that New Zealand yen for now. We've got some things that we're watching on euro yen. Pretty similar. Some pretty important levels in the 126, 127 range. Kind of some ski-wampus looking head and shoulders patterns, but nonetheless, I think we still have some pretty good areas to work with there. We've got a sloping, slanting head and shoulders pattern, and that's looking pretty good. And this thing wants to just break above that resistance and above that area there. And if it does, we should see quite a nice continuation up there. So we're hitting resistance on a lot of these. This is going to be a good opportunity for the stock market to pull back and a good opportunity for the currency market to correct a little bit, but then we want to stay with the trend. We want to keep in mind what this big picture really is and where it's going. So as the stock market continues to kind of carry on. The currency market continues to carry on. We see more dollar weakness, more yen weakness. These are all good things. And we're going to be looking at plenty of these kinds of trades here, right? Delta Airlines, I've traded Delta Airlines over the last couple of weeks, more than I can even say, and we just keep making money on it. Delta's making a nice little push, a nice little run here. We were open to the possibility that it might head lower. It never did, it never has, and I think Delta is just starting to pick up some momentum, so I'm still very much liking the airlines. Remember, we've had these nice moves through some of the lower regions here that we're trying to kind of find the bottom there, and I think we found that bottom. We're breaking these necklines and we're just heading up. I think there's nowhere to go but higher for something like Delta. I even think that something as terrible as American Airlines might even do well also. We've broken out of this range, out of this area here. And American Airlines looks like it has some opportunity to continue pushing up on this one. And so I like this. I think that this is a great trade and a great opportunity. You can see some of these trend lines and some of these real extreme levels here. We had something like this going on with Delta, big sell-off, or sorry, with American, big sell-off, big pullback. Some retesting here, breaks through, retests, and it's been pushing higher and breaking through a lot of this, resistance there. And now we're kind of up to this resistance here, and we'll have that resistance to work with next. But I think this is a great one. This is a really good one to keep trading and keep watching and keep going for. So I like the airlines. I like the retail stocks. I think retail stocks are great. One that we made a lot of money on and was a very easy trade was this Kohl's trade. This thing got stuck in the low 20s for a while, and then it just took off and it blew up. So we're looking for opportunities for some pullback on some of this, but I think some little dips and continuation on Kohl's should be a good play and a good run. So I really like the retail sector. I think the retail sector has a lot of promise, and we have a lot of opportunity there. So airlines, retail, American Eagle, we've got a trade on here that's about ready to close out in profit. These kinds of retail stocks are looking really, really good. They're giving us some pretty decent opportunities to work with. So as we've kind of continued to, we broke that neckline right there and then made it up to kind of this next area and busted through that. AEO seems to not be turning around anytime soon, so the retail sector is looking pretty strong. We even have a trade in my live group on this one right here, and it's about ready to close out as well in profit. Macy's, of all things, rounded bottom, neckline break, retest, and it continues on. I mean, all things retail are really starting to make that big push and make that big bullish movement. So I'm really staying on that retail side of things. I'm loving those kinds of stocks. I think those are some of our better opportunities for now. So retail stocks are looking good. Travel stocks are looking good. These are all giving us some pretty excellent opportunities to trade and follow through with. So as the stock market in general is getting a little bit overcooked, we're seeing a lot of tech stocks get a little overdone. Amazon kind of has been doing nothing for a while. We had some big spaces in Amazon right here, right? This kind of hit that high in September, and we had maximum space, and now this thing has really started to sputter, and that's what I see happening in SPY. Same thing with some of these other stocks is we got these real big open areas right here, right? Big open spaces between moving average and current price, and then they really start to sputter and consolidate. And that's what we have. That's what I see kind of happening in SPY is we're just getting a lot of space in there. So I'm staying away from tech stocks for now. Pharmaceutical stocks are real interesting. Everybody wants to be in on that move. Moderna obviously has gone absolutely banana nuts crazy because they kind of have the leading vaccine candidate. But again, this kind of stuff begins to get fairly unsustainable. So be careful trading some of these because pullbacks could be really violent on these. So just be cautious, be careful of that. But Moderna's looking great. It's all looking really good. So I'm going to keep focused in kind of those travel stocks, those consumer-related retail stocks, and keep look for some pullback on the U.S. dollar, look for some pullback on the yen, but keep looking for yen weakness, dollar weakness. We're looking for some small corrections in the stock market and in some stocks, but we're still looking overall for stock strength and a bullish stock market. So I think we have some good opportunities here. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to find out more, stop by the website, daytradersfx.com, and you can find out more about this. I'm working on a lot of videos in the YouTube channel to kind of teach people more about option trading in simple terms that are easy to kind of follow. So have a look at that. Let me know any questions you have. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good luck on everything. Bye-bye.